Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. I do want to apologize that. So here's the thing: that if you see that my camera is a bit bright, that means I'm recording my video during the daytime. There's a lot of natural lighting, and then if I'm doing it at nighttime, which is usually around post server reset, that kind of stuff, it's probably gonna be a little bit darker because it's like 11 o'clock at night or after that here. But we're into, I guess, the day after of the Xavier saga starting up. And there's a lot of things. When I woke up this morning, for me anyways, I noticed that there was a few things, and it seems like there's some obvious whale and I'm going to say Kraken milking going on right now. And I feel like since Overpower came out, that this has been more and more, and we're going to talk about some of the data mines. There's also some things that appeared in-game that was not in the data mines that just appeared out of nowhere, and we need to discuss that as well. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. And so first things first is they did eventually bring back the See No Evil event. Thankfully, they did. There was a post in the news section of Discord. I think there was a Reddit post as well that basically that said that if people had, so there was a free claim, right? And I have the photo here. So this was a photo that I took of the free claims before I started doing anything, and you can notice that there was a web special free claim for See No Evil, but at that time the milestone was messed up and not available for everyone. So, and you can see here there's like a stupid Mutants versus Zombies free claim still coming out even after the event ended, which is just absolutely ridiculous as well. But I think that, depending on whether or not the milestone was available that you could see here, that this would not have been, if you claimed this, you wouldn't have got credit for it. So that's a pretty big problem. So I guess there might be some compensation for specific people. If that was you, we'll see what ends up happening. They said that they're going to let us know when that kind of stuff happens. So this is the event milestone here, and you should at least right now be able to get up to milestone 7. Now, possibly by the time this video goes out, Battle World is coming out later on today, so that'll allow you to get more milestone points, right? So if you watch the video about the event that I put out on Sunday, then that should help you there. You can also see that you get 55,000 points for Battle World, so you shouldn't have much problem here doing this kind of thing. Okay, so getting most of these, the 100 shards of Daredevil should be pretty easy to do, so don't feel bad about that. It should be pretty easy. And the X-Coin stuff there, this isn't a leaderboard, so it's not that stressful. It's just the Battle World stuff, and then I guess if you have the 10,000 that you can blitz with a character at gear 20, that is going to give you a fair bit of points, because that, with all the Starjammer Crucible stuff, should be able to get you to milestone 15. This extra 150,000 X coins here, so it's better than nothing. I have my Odin at G20. Well, I'm not gonna go into huge details about talking about the Xavier saga, things like that. I know it's over already for some people, and if we go and look at the Race to X milestone, you can kind of see that I'm kind of at the end of my rope as far as the non G20 stuff, right? I talked about it, I think, in my last video. But you can see, I'm surprised I'm even that far, frankly. But you can see that there's already, how many people have cleared it since I woke up? I'm surprised. Wow. Okay, so do we have like 100 of them? No, okay, we don't. We have 51 Xaviers. That's pretty surprising. Now, there was apparently a big complaint that when you finished and you unlocked Xavier, that there wasn't any gear tier 20 gear to get him to, any red gear to get him to gear 20. And that was a big issue. And so out of nowhere, I found out that when I woke up, and I looked at my events, and this just showed up out of nowhere. This countdown to Cataclysm event. So it's it's another one of those Cataclysm dimensions or whatever. Like we had the usually you get rewards like avatar icons, frames, those kind of things, right? And so this just appeared out of nowhere, and I when I logged in this morning, that this is to do with Xavier. So the Psychic Cataclysm is coming. Cable of handling, you basically need to have Xavier, because if you look at it, so if you read some of this stuff down below, gather your strongest forces, blah 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 blah. Psychic Cataclysm will require characters at gear tier 20. Some missions will prohibit the use of arch enemy characters, and then there's some difficulty sliders and stuff. But if you go down further down, it says to celebrate the Age of X, this event has been specifically designed with Professor Xavier and the X-Men in mind. First of all, there's two things here. Professor X, okay, at gear tier 20, fine. mean, not fine, but you know, whatever. X-Men. How many X-Men are you building up to gear tier 20? Because from what I heard, from what I've the early stuff that I've been reading, that it's not even advisable to use Old Man Logan. And so, what other X-Men are you using at gear tier 20? This is clear and obvious Kraken baiting. It's just absolutely insane. And so, I don't know when this is going to start, but it says, however, any characters at gear tier 20 can be used. This is extremely tone deaf, because who the fuck has like multiple gear tier 20 characters at this point? I have one. I don't know when this is coming, but it doesn't even matter. Like, it's just it's baffling that this is how many people are going to be engaging in this event. Like 200 people, like maybe less. Like I don't know, right? There's 50 something people with Xavier. I guess, you know, maybe by the time this event comes through, who knows? Like maybe it's like in 5 weeks, but I don't know. There's going to be like, it's going to be an event for like a couple hundred people at most, and maybe this is a way for those people to get gear tier 20 gear for Xavier. But then you need him at 20 to get in. So I don't fucking know who this event is designed for. It's absolutely baffling. And so that's just part of it. But I feel like, again, that since the introduction of Overpower, I feel like there's just been I'm not even sure what to call it, but it's just been a slow decline in terms of like all this stuff going for the top, 500 players, like all of these events coming out, all of these new things coming out that's designed for them and not designed for anyone else. But the fact that this is coming out and it is clear that like 99.5% of the players won't be able to engage in this is just absolutely baffling to me. So there we go. That's the countdown to Cataclysm. Who knows when that's coming out? Now, I do want to return to the Return of the Shadow King thing, because I do think that this is a trap. I think I mentioned this in the video, but I just want to double down on this, that I think that to get the 80,000 points that you need for this, that you need to spend 20,000 ISO 8 energy. And while I spent a little bit, I think it was just for the Strike Pass points, I'm going to do a couple of days of that. I'm not actually going for this passive. While it would be nice, and I would like to have it, I think that this is a trap. So for most players who are going to be able to engage in this anyways, you would have to have saved quite a bit of your ISO 8 energy, which, we were hoarding for the last little while. But just, to show on the calculator, like, I think, so just off the top of my head, I think you get like 1,300, you get 1,100 campaign energy if you do 200 cores. I think for ISO 8 energy, you get a little bit more. And so without looking at my charts, I think it's about 1,300. I think I want to say it's 1,300. So times by 14 days, right? You're still going to be short, what you need in order to get that. So if you didn't hoard, you're going to be having to core quite a bit in order to get that passive. And I just really feel that right after this finishes, or even next week or the week after, like probably by the time this finishes, there's going to be an ISO 8 energy event. There could very well be a leaderboard. So I'm not going to bite. I'm actually continuing to hoard all of my energy. In fact, I'm going to buy a little bit more here. And the reason for that is because the Strike Pass is just flat garbage. So there's this new resource Strike Pass. I don't think I actually talked about this in the previous video, but on the blog, they mentioned that we were getting this resource Strike Pass, and it's not very good. Like I think it's worse, honestly. Like the total amount of gold and training modules isn't really super amazing. I'm looking at what they actually offer in here. There's a whole bunch of teal gear that I don't give a shit about. And when you scroll through this, it's like, maybe it's a little bit more on the G19 minis. Like it probably is. Now that I'm 75, I don't think it was that high, but like G19 gear is not really that hard to get. So this Strike Pass just does not have a lot of value. And there's no, like, I'm not going to buy it anyways, but they're just 35 tempered osmium. Okay. But I mean, for people who are kind of in the end game, who are like, in the, prepping for G20 or just want more G20, and I don't expect G20 gear to be in this, but I just think that it's not super amazing as far as what they're offering. As far as the total gold, I want to count this actually. So in the pay track, there's 12.5, 17.5. Maybe they brought it back to what it was normally. 17.5, 20 million, 21 and a bit, and 22. So I actually think that they brought the gold and the training modules back to where it was before, because it was previously nerfed. The gold and the training modules were nerfed down to like 12 million or something stupid. So maybe they just brought it back to what it normally was. But I don't think that this is anything above average as to what a Strike Pass is. And I don't really care about these last few levels. I used to care when we were getting those Lilandra brooches, but I don't really care much anymore. So I think and I don't need any of this stuff on the free track really. So I'm just going to continue to hoard my energy for the events, because that's what matters. Gear tier 20 matters, and I want to get the biggest heads up on that as possible, which means that I need to save my campaign energy, I need to save my ISO 8 energy for these kinds of things going forward, and I hope that you guys do as well. This is just a Boilon recommendation. You guys can do whatever you want, but I'm going to continue to hoard my energy for the times that it's actually useful to do that. And I don't really care about these Shadow King event orbs that are in the ISO 8 campaign right now that you can get. It's all just character shards, the character shards that are farmable, so it's not really a big deal for most players, but it's good for, I guess, new players. And I just want to really quickly pivot to the data mine section here, and I want to talk about Fallen Dimension. Now, we talked about Fallen Dimension in a previous video, right? Like, so I let you guys know that there was a skill-based pocket dimension coming, but this is brand new. Actually, this is not brand new. So apparently this was on the data mines on Friday or Saturday, but because you guys know that I was traveling, I wasn't really looking at my data mines at that time, that this came out. I just forgot to report on it. And so this is Fallen Dimension Omega. So this is interesting, featuring, I want to read the text for this though. So Strike has received a distress call from an isolated pocket dimension that appears to be one enormous city. Gather vigilante characters and locate the source of the signal. So minimum requirements, 5 vigilante characters. You need all 5 of them to do this, and it requires them at gear tier 20. Holy fuck, guys. So, okay, there's what it appears to be now, I don't know. Is this going to be a second? I hope this is just a second difficulty, because we had Fallen Dimension and now Fallen Dimension Omega. I don't know if they're releasing at the same time or what's going on, but it's a required 5 of them at gear tier 20. And that's just absolutely insane that they're asking us to do that for vigilante characters. And that's all of them, right? Including Punisher and Elektra. And they're making us do this. Well, sorry, they're not making us do it because most of us won't even have a chance in fucking hell to be able to do this, right? Because realistically, you know, if we're doing then that's the other thing, right? So I want to compare this with the Xavier saga, right? For the city. So are you going to take all 5 vigilante characters to gear tier 20 so you could do this Fallen Dimension? Or are you going to do what was kind of previously recommended, which is the 3 new characters for vigilante plus Blade and Oath for the Xavier saga city, right? So there's a bit of a conundrum here because they're wanting you to do this, but it's clear Kraken baiting because most people aren't going to be able to engage in this anyways. And I do want to just go back to where I had it posted about the Fallen Dimension. I think it was a little bit further up. I think right around here. Sorry, just making sure that I see it on the screen here. So this, right, we talked about this, the amount of characters that you need. It's vigilante skill, right? So you're not mandated to use vigilante characters in this, but you do need to use your skill characters for this. So it's either or. Obviously, it makes more sense to use vigilante, and if you're taking them into the Xavier saga, it makes a lot of sense to use Daredevil Modern, Silver Sable, Hitmonkey when you have them, those kind of things. And I think this is coming next week. But they did this little add-on here, right, with the Fallen Dimension Omega. So I hope that it's just kind of both of them running so that those of us who can't do Omega obviously can do the regular Fallen Dimension. But I think it's just absolutely insane that they're kind of like chucking gear tier 20 events at us when clearly like very few people have it. And that goes back to the kind of thing that we were talking about with regards to the Cataclysm event, the Psychic Cataclysm. Like they're releasing both of these kind of back to back. We're getting Psychic Cataclysm and we're getting Fallen Dimension, and both of them are gear tier 20. And it's a clear indication that they're just trying to get money from these like top 500 players because they're the only people who have a chance in hell to be able to do this kind of stuff. So I think it's absolutely insane, but I would love to know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments down below. Let me know how you feel about the direction of things right now in the game. I feel like between Overpower, between these clearly gear 20 baited events that like only a handful of people are going to be able to do, I don't know where this game is headed. I feel like it's just, it's mind-boggling. It's baffling to me that they're even doing this. So anyways, that's it for now, guys, and I'll see you guys on the next video. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.